Now that some of the worst of Hurricane Sandy is behind us, that other superstorm is back. That's right, the race for the White House is on again.
And it's hard to believe that after a campaign that has seemed to last forever, it is virtually tied with just 5 days to go until the big vote. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
In the final sprint to Election Day, both candidates have been angling for any advantage. And in New Jersey, President Obama had the biggest one of all, the power of the presidency. Off the campaign trail for a third straight day, President Obama surveyed the damage along a nearly 60-mile stretch of the Jersey Shore with Governor Chris Christie.
We are here for you, and we will not forget. We will follow up to make sure that you get all the help that you need until you've rebuilt.
Obama and Christie are a very unlikely pairing with less than a week until Election Day. The blunt, brash Republican governor is one of Mitt Romney's most staunch supporters. But with his state facing historic devastation and a massive rebuilding, Christie welcomed the president's help.
He has worked incredibly closely with me since before the storm hit. I think this is our sixth conversation since the weekend, and it's been a great working relationship.
In such a tight race, Romney couldn't afford to lose another day on the campaign trail. He was in Florida, a state that's essentially a must-win for him. Romney set aside his usual attacks and struck a more subdued, optimistic tone.
This is a turning point in American history.
His only fleeting reference to the president:
It's time to take a new path of bold, aggressive change.
It's back to politics for President Obama. He'll make stops in Wisconsin, Nevada, and Colorado. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
And by all measures, this is still a tied race that's still going to come down to a few key swing states, most notably Ohio. And according to a Quinnipiac CBS News New York Times poll that we got yesterday, Halloween, Obama's up by 5 points, 50-45 over Romney in Ohio. So if you know, like I said, you don't know the impact of the storm. You don't know. There's every poll says something a little bit different, right. So you don't know exactly how it's going to play out. But all eyes really Ohio and Florida. But then also the Democrats could be losing some ground in what they thought were solid blue states, including Michigan and Minnesota now. So
you would think, though, the folks in Florida, with all the hurricanes that they get, they want someone that can respond vigorously and robustly to this type of tragedy. And with Chris Christie, again, vouching for President Obama, I would think that would have some sort of effect on perhaps Florida voters.
You know what I'll say about this, and I hope I haven't, I've mentioned New Orleans a lot of times on the show this week, but I think when the way you see politicians and your local leaders, even media, the wall-to-wall coverage, to me, all of this, living through this for a second time, is proof of how Katrina changed the nation's psychology when it comes to storms, and how many lessons have been learned to those dark days along the Gulf Coast back in 2005. You see it playing out in this storm. This is the closest thing we've had to Katrina since 2005. So I think you're seeing it really, the country changed after that storm.
No question.
And the response on every level has changed as well. So interesting to watch it again, for sure.